Hello YouTube, I'm here to tell you guys what to use. I'm here to answer the question, what should I use? CO2 or HPA? And I'm going to tell you a little about each of the gases, or yeah, gases. So I'm going to start off with the CO2. This is just my temporary tank just to play around with, you know, shoot a couple rounds out. I have this and two 20 ounces, but I do not use CO2 anymore. I use HPA. I just have to go and refill my tanks at Hector's Paintball. It's a good shop. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna start off with the 20 ounce or the CO2. So CO2, what it does, I wouldn't recommend it. If you're a beginner, I would say you should get CO2 just to start off, but you really have to change it. So you have HPA, because HPA, in my opinion, is better for you and for the gun. So CO2, what it does is basically an ounce of liquid that's in there. I mean an inch, so about like that much. So if you tilt this and put it upside down, all the liquid is going into your gun, and that causes your gun to freeze up. So that's why I don't like using CO2, but if I have to, I would use it. Like if I run out of HPA, I'll use CO2, but it's rare that I run out of this. Um, on the other hand, with HPA, you don't have that. You won't have your gun freeze up, and CO2, you can't use it in cold weathers. It'll freeze up. It freezes up. But with HPA, the tank does not freeze up. You can use it in any weather. It could be negative 10 degrees outside, and you can use it. But on the other hand, with CO2, it's not gonna work well with your gun, and it's probably gonna freeze it and break it, which I have had happen to me. Uh, so my old gun, I used to have a crappy gun before. Now I have a Tipman 98 Custom, and it's pretty good. I'm waiting for my exhaust system to come in. This is just my old hopper. My new one is upstairs. So, Tipman 98 Custom. It's good. So, yeah. I like the Tipman 98. It's not that bad. And I have a Tipman A5 upstairs, but, I usually use this. Tipman A5, I actually gave it to my brother. I didn't use it that much, so I just gave it away. So let's go back to this. CO2, on the other hand, it's very cheap. That's why a lot of people go with CO2, but it could come to some drastic measures where your gun is not going to be so safe for your gun. But HPA, you will know, it'll never run out while you're on the field. CO2, you never know how much is really in there. People can fill it less than what is in there, but on this, you always have 850 PSI coming out, and it'll always be set for you, and you'll never run out of air on the field if you're playing. And right here you can see Speedball, Woods Ball, Recreation. Right here says Speedball, Woods Ball, Recreation. This is for the recreational league, whatever you play in. There's different sizes. There's the 48 CU, there's the 60, there's the 50, there's Ninja. There's different companies, different sizes. I am saving up for the Ninja 50 ounce, which is really small for me because I'm about like 5 foot. And let me show you. This is kind of big on me. So So yeah, so I go with HPA, and you see, sort of like out too far, but if I just took it under, I mean it's good. I can use it. It balances out my gun. Doesn't make it feel heavy. And the Tipman 98 isn't really that heavy, but it is a little. It's not heavy at all for me, but it still balances it out, sorta. Because usually I under aim. I sorta aim below too much, and it balances out, so I have a perfect aim. So yeah, and let me show you the CO2. Once and oh, another thing that I wanted to tell you is CO2. When you're unscrewing it, it wastes a lot of money if you think about it. It's 20 for the tank, about another 20 for O-rings. Cause when you're unscrewing your CO2 tank, the O-ring on it, the CO2 puts out a lot of pressure, and that causes the O-ring to bust a lot of times. So you're gonna spend like 20 bucks on O-rings. It happened to me when I first started. I spent 20 bucks on O-rings, $20 CO2 tanks. I actually kept count of how much I spend for O-rings, and that's when I just decided to go to HPA. So let me show you. All right. As you can see, I mean, it fits out well because you could just tuck it under and pop, 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 pop. But a 9-ounce CO2 tank puts out about 20 bullets. A 20-ounce puts out about 1,000. 24 ounces probably the biggest, and that puts out like, I don't know, 1,500, something like that. I'm not sure. But this will put out a lot of rounds. And another thing with this is you have a gauge that'll tell you how many PSI is coming out and what up with it, how much PSI you have in there. The max with this is 6,000 PSI that will go in there. At 3,000 PSI, but you know, it tells you what's going on. And the O-ring on this is sort of different than this. This is sort of like a rubbery O-ring on the CO2 tank. And on this right here is a plastic harder CO2 O-ring, so it'll like last pressure if pressure does come out. And another thing you can do with this, if you travel, what you can do is you could take this top part, as you can see this line right here, right there, that line, the little line that's going on the bottom that my hand's going with, you can unscrew the top and have it in two parts. But if you get it from Empire, you have to send it to the whole brand name company, Empire, and get it, have them remove it because they have this Loctite seal on it. But you guys are probably thinking, why get it removed? Just like the CO2 tank, if it pops and goes out, well, with this, there's grooves in here. I would show you, but I didn't send mine to Empire. There's grooves in, well, once you unlock this, there's threads like this. There's threads like the top, but there's grooves in there, so like, if it unscrews while there's gas in there, or air in there, all the air will leak out and come out. So, you won't have any problem, and the tank won't shoot itself at someone. Another thing that breaks me out is, yes, it'll cost you 40 for the tank. But think of it, you won't spend as much with O-rings plus tank. Well, the O-rings and the tank combined in about like 2 months, it'll bring you out as much as this. And this was $40, and shipping was about like 20, 30. And I shipped this and my other one. But right now, shipping on Amazon is about free if you order like this, which is 40 something dollars. Just let me check. Just yeah. So it'll even out, and son. So in my opinion, I definitely go with the Empire. But on Amazon, so yeah, but it's 44.25, and you can get free 2-day shipping, so it's gonna be $45. Well, yeah, I'd rather get this plus $5 refills. Oh, I forgot to add refills too. Refills with this goes out about 200 bullets, and if you're a serious paintballer, like once you get into the sport, you want to shoot a lot, and well, even when you're a pro, you have to shoot a lot. That's all you practice. All you practice is shooting and playing games with your team. So yeah, so this little 9 ounce is gonna cost you a lot. It's like $5 per refill for CO2. So it's gonna take you, if you use it daily on a daily basis. I'd probably go like 3, 4 times maybe. $5, and when I have the 20 ounce, you'll go only five, and it'll probably last you a couple days. It'll probably last you like 2 or 3 days. But on the other hand, this will probably in a week I'll probably spend like $30 just on this on refills. 6 times going. So yeah, I'd rather go with the HPA. That's just my opinion. I'm all with HPA. It's like I don't hate CO2, but CO2 is good, just not. Why take the risk of destroying your gun, which has happened to me. Um, I've had a Cybrid. That was the first ever paintball gun I ever got, and it's gay. It's a gay gun, but I mean, it has happened to me. I tilted the gun upside down, the whole top froze and a part broke. So, I mean, Cyberds aren't the best gun, but still, if you freeze that gun, you're kind of done. So, in my opinion, I'd go with the HPA. I definitely recommend you go and buy a tank, and get it filled. That'll come out to like $50. It totally evens out. $20 with the O-rings, $20 tank, $40 right there, plus another like $30 for refills for like a week for me. That would equal out to a tank and probably some paintballs too. So 50 and then 40, 70. So you have like $20 over to get probably like a barrel or some paintballs or a sight or something like that. So yeah, I'd recommend the HPA, and that's just my opinion. You may not like HPA. Every player has different ways, every player has different skills, every player has different parts. So yeah, I'm going with HPA. So I'd recommend you go buy HPA. Like, subscribe, and comment if you have any questions.